Yeah, I just got here, but it's obviously like good for these shows to be back, right? Like COVID and all of this stuff is behind us. I'm glad we don't need to worry about that or think about it in terms of like.
Well, at least
Parker Schnabel might work in the dirt, but his life is anything but simple. While most people see him as just a gold miner, there's a lot more going on when the cameras stop rolling. He's young, rich, and living a life many only dream about. From fast trucks to hidden homes, Parker's world is full of things that most can't even imagine. He doesn't show it off much, but the truth is surprising. How did digging in the ground turn into this kind of money, and what does he really spend it on? Join us in this video as we discuss the details. The luxurious and wealthy lifestyle of Parker Schnabel. Parker Schnabel makes a lot of money from being on the TV show Gold Rush. It's reported that he earns about $100,000 for each episode he appears in, and when you add it all up, that's around $2 million for every full season of the show. That's a huge amount of money for anyone, especially someone still fairly young. But even with all that income, Parker doesn't live the way many people might expect someone that rich to live. He doesn't throw his money around on fancy things just to show off. In fact, he has said in interviews that he really doesn't spend a lot of money on physical things. He's not interested in flashy items or buying things just to impress others. Instead, he likes to spend his money on experiences, memories, and the people who matter to him. Now, even though Parker says he doesn't spend a lot on material things, there are still a few areas where his wealth does show, especially when it comes to the vehicles he owns. Parker has a collection of vehicles that many people would admire. He owns a custom-made Ford Raptor that has black and red detailing. This truck isn't just for looks. It's made for tough work and rugged terrain. He also has a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, which is built for traveling in difficult conditions and is known for being both strong and stylish. In addition to those, he drives a Jeep Wrangler, which is great for going off-road, and a modified Chevrolet Silverado, which is another heavy-duty truck. Besides these main vehicles, he has several all-terrain vehicles, known as ATVs, that are spread out across his different mining areas. These vehicles help him and his crew get around quickly when they're out working in remote and rough locations. When it comes to homes and property, Parker keeps things pretty private. In some interviews, he's said that he doesn't even own a house outside of his mining site. And at one point, he was even staying on a friend's couch in Los Angeles. That might seem surprising for someone who's made millions. But other reports tell a different story. Some sources say that Parker actually owns more than one property. One of those homes is believed to be in Haines, Alaska. That house is said to be about 2,000 square feet in size and has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. That's a nice, comfortable home. Nothing too over the top, but definitely not small either. Another report says he bought what some people are calling his dream home for a little over $950,000. On top of that, there are claims that he is now one of the biggest landowners in the Klondike region. That would make sense, considering how much he focuses on mining and expanding his operations. It seems like most of the money he makes goes back into the land and equipment that help him do his job, even though he could easily live like a celebrity and surround himself with luxury. Parker chooses to live in a more down-to-earth way. He puts his money where he thinks it matters most. One of his favorite things to spend money on is making memories with his team. Every year, Parker takes his crew on trips to unwind and enjoy life away from the hard work of mining. Some of these trips have included going, hunting together, taking a fast-paced 3-day vacation in Las Vegas, and even attending a World Series baseball game with his dad. In 2023, Parker also took a longer break and spent 3 full weeks traveling through London. These aren't just fancy vacations, they're ways for Parker to connect with the people who support him, give them something back, and create moments they'll never forget. Most of what Parker earns ends up going straight back into his mining business. That's something he's made very clear over the years. He keeps buying better machines, expanding to new land, and doing everything he can to keep the business growing. His spending isn't about showing off or buying expensive stuff just because he can. It's about building something that lasts and enjoying life in a way that feels meaningful to him. Even though Parker is spending his fortune on his work and on the people around him, his lifestyle, which he considers simple, is quite expensive. Be it from his cars to vacations, all these are quite luxurious to other people. Just as things seem to settle, one bold move was about to change everything. Could this be the breakthrough he'd been chasing? Stay tuned for more. Parker Schnabel's breakthrough season at Dominion Creek. Parker Schnabel wrapped up one of the biggest and most important mining seasons of his life with a huge success at Dominion Creek, a claim he had bought for $15 million. This season was high stakes, high pressure, and full of long days and heavy lifting. The mining area, which the crew called the Money Pit, was almost fully dug out by the end of the season. There was only a small stretch of gold-rich ground left. The crew worked carefully, knowing they were close to finishing. They dug the final loads of dirt, running every last bucket through the wash plant, hoping to end the season on a high note. Everyone knew this. The moment was big. Parker had set a goal for the season. He wanted to reach 7,000 ounces of gold. That's a massive number. And as they neared the end, they knew it was going to be close. He only needed 174 ounces more to reach that goal. So the pressure was on. With everyone standing by, the weigh-in began. The first jar of cleaned gold was poured out, and the numbers started adding up all the way to 300 ounces. That alone was a great result, but they weren't done yet. Next came the second jar. The team gathered around again as the numbers kept climbing, and then finally 254.35 ounces. When both jars were combined, the final total from that cleanup was 554.35 ounces of gold. That much gold was worth about $1.1 million. Not only did Parker reach his goal, but he blew past it with ease. The B team had pulled off the biggest gold recovery of the entire season from just one wash plant in 1 week. By the end of the season, the total amount of gold mined came to 7,381.1 ounces. That amount of gold was worth nearly $15 million. What made it even more exciting was that this number was almost enough to completely pay off the $15 million Parker had spent to buy the Dominion Creek claim. It was a huge achievement, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of proving that the purchase was a smart move. Parker and his crew had taken a big risk, and it had paid off in a big way. After the final gold count, Parker gathered everyone together to celebrate the end of the season. He stood in front of his crew, truly thankful for all the hard work they had done. He thanked them not just for the results, but for the long hours, the tough conditions, and their loyalty to the mission. To mark the season's success and to show appreciation, Parker handed out special tokens. These weren't just any tokens. They were made from real gold that had been mined, right there at Dominion Creek. Each one could be used for a meal at the camp kitchen, but, more importantly, they were a symbol of everything the team had accomplished together. The atmosphere was filled with pride and celebration. People raised glasses, toasted to the season, and honored those who had helped along the way, even the ones who were longer around to see the results. As Parker looked back at the season, he spoke with a lot of emotion. He said how proud he was of the crew and how impressed he was by the quality of the ground at Dominion Creek. According to him, it was the best mining ground they had ever worked on. He talked about how much better the site was than any place they had mined before. With so much ground still left untouched, he was excited about what the future held. He said they were in a great position for the years ahead and hoped that everyone on the current crew would want to come back and keep working together. At the end of the celebration, it was mentioned that Parker would be heading to Brazil soon. This hinted at his next big adventure, possibly another mining opportunity in a brand new location. But even with that trip ahead of him, his mind was still focused on the success they had just achieved. Dominion Creek had turned out to be a solid investment, and the team he built around it had proven they could handle anything. He had the gold, the fame, and the empire. But who was Parker Schnabel when the cameras stopped rolling? Keep watching to find out. Parker Schnabel's life, choices, and quiet fortune. Parker Schnabel was born on July 22, 1994, in Haines, Alaska. He grew up surrounded by mining. His parents, Roger and Nancy Schnabel, were part-time miners and appeared a few times on Gold Rush. When Parker was still young, he went to live with his grandfather, John Schnabel, who owned the Big Nugget mine. His grandfather played a big role in shaping his life. Parker learned everything about mining by working alongside him. Over time, he became more involved and eventually appeared on Gold Rush in 2011. After his grandfather left the show in 2019, Parker took over and led the operation on his own. After high school, Parker faced a big decision. His family had saved money for him to go to college, and his father wanted him to get a degree. But Parker had a different plan. Instead of going to school, he used the college fund to start his own mining business. His mother was unsure at first, but his decision turned out to be a smart one. In his very first season as the head of the Big Nugget mine, he and his crew pulled out over 34 ounces of gold, worth around $55,000. That early success gave him the confidence to keep going. Since then, Parker has become one of the most successful miners on Gold Rush. He has worked in several gold-rich areas and has brought in strong results season after season. Though people might think of gold as big, shiny nuggets, Parker explained that in the areas where he works, like Dawson City, big nuggets are rare. In a 2017 Q&A video, he said the biggest nugget he ever found was only about a quarter of an ounce and worth $400. He added that for every 1,000 ounces of gold they find, there are usually only 1 or 2 quarter-ounce nuggets. His grandfather, who mined in other areas like Haines, Alaska, often found much larger pieces weighing 3 or 4 ounces, even though Parker doesn't usually find large nuggets. He makes up for it in the amount of gold he recovers. So far, Parker has mined over 63,000 ounces of gold, worth close to $100 million. By the time he was 24, he had already pulled in $13 million worth of gold. Today, his net worth is believed to be more than $10 million. A big part of his income also comes from the TV show. Each year, he takes his crew on hunting trips or vacations to Las Vegas. He also enjoys spending quality time with his father, such as taking him to big events like the World Series. Outside of mining and the main show, Parker has taken part in producing other projects. He was a producer for Gold Rush, The Dirt, a behind-the-scenes talk show. He also created his own spin-off series called Gold Rush, Parker's Trail. The idea came in 2017 as a way to honor his late grandfather. In the first season, Parker followed the trail of the old Klondike Gold Rush, leading a team through rough terrain. Since then, the show has taken him to other places like Papua New Guinea and Australia. While Parker usually appears calm and focused, he has had some personal conflicts. During one filming trip for his spin-off, he had a falling out with a cameraman named James Lavelle. The two had worked together before, but their relationship soured during the expedition. Parker later said that the issue wasn't about the TV work and that he hadn't spoken to James since. He didn't go into details, but made it clear the problem was personal, not professional. Through hard work, strong decisions, and the lessons he learned from his grandfather, Parker has built a successful career. He remains focused on mining, reinvests in his business, and lives a modest life despite his growing wealth. With big wins come bigger challenges. What happens when pushing for more nearly brings everything to a halt? Let's take a closer look. Turning trouble into the biggest gold haul yet. Parker Schnabel ran into a big problem at his mining site after he made some changes to the wash plant. He had increased both the speed of the feed rate and the amount of water going through the system to try and clean more pay dirt faster. But this caused trouble. Water started spilling out of the distribution box and flooding the area. One of Parker's crew noticed the plant was running too hard, probably around 20% above what it could really handle. The mix of too much dirt and too much water caused the material to overflow, which was dangerous. If the area got too washed out, they might have to remove the whole plant and rebuild it. Mitch needed to fix the problem fast. He had to find a way to keep feeding the plant at the higher rate without causing all that water to spill everywhere. He came up with a plan. He shut down the plant for a short time and got to work on changing some of the spray nozzles in the pre-wash area. These nozzles control how water hits the dirt. By changing where the water sprayed and how it flowed, he hoped to stop the overflow and get everything working smoothly again. He told another crew member to let the feeder run out so they could get to work. The problem was that the custom spray bars were letting out too much water. The crew member added new flared nozzles that would spread the water out more evenly. This would help break up the dirt with less water and stop it from building up in one place. The goal was to spread the dirt out better, too. Once everything was in place, they turned the plant back on. The pump was lowered to 2,800 gallons a minute, and the feed rate stayed at 300 yards an hour. Things started to look better. Right away, the water in the distribution box looked much more controlled, and the dirt was moving more smoothly through the system. There was no more flooding, and the wash Plant was working well again. Everyone could see the water was doing its job now without, causing new problems. Later, the team got ready to weigh gold from two different plants, Slucifer, working on Australia Creek and Roxanne, running in the money pit. Slucifer, managed by Tyson, had been doing well all season, getting about 145 ounces of gold per week. This time, it gave them 270.05 ounces in 1 week, worth over $540,000. Then it was Roxanne's turn. Roxanne was a newer plant and had taken over after Big Red, which had been the top earner, pulling over 370 ounces weekly. Even though Roxanne had some downtime because of the changes made, the results were impressive. The first pan gave them 200 ounces. The second pan added another 247.6 ounces. On top of that, they had 23.8 ounces of fine gold that was too small to clean earlier. That added up to 471.4 ounces from Roxanne alone. That week's total was worth about $1.4 million in gold, making it the best week of the season. With Slucifer and Roxanne together, the team brought in over 700 ounces in just 1 week. It was a huge win. At that point, the total gold for the season had reached 5,789.95 ounces. Parker and the team were thrilled. The changes to the plant had worked, and it looked like. The new ground they were working on was very rich in gold. Parker said he was starting to feel really excited about what they were seeing. At first, he was just relieved things were working. But after this week's big gold count, he started to believe that the ground was truly great, not just lucky. He and the team even joked about what would happen if they ran big. Red and Roxanne side by side. The idea of that much gold coming in at once made everyone laugh. This successful week showed how taking risks and trying new things could really pay off. Even when things go wrong at first, the team's hard work, quick thinking, and strong teamwork helped turn things around. It was the biggest gold haul of the season and gave Parker's crew a big boost toward reaching their season goal. What do you think about the lifestyle of Parker Schnabel? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.